NYC. It is Gotham City Chronicles, your favorite Batman show, we hope. Episode 7. Back. It's been a minute, but I'm here as usual with my co-host, JP from JP's Budget Collecting. What is up, my friend?
Hey, everyone. Looking forward to this. It's only been like mid-July since we did one of these.
Something like that. And then tonight we are joined by our special guests, the amazingly talented and wonderful Delphia and Kachoong from DK Comics and Cosplay. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We're good. Kachoong just had to turn down his volume. It's been a while since we've been on YouTube.
Yeah,
so.
we're all getting used to being on. Yeah, I took like 2 weeks off maybe, but you guys took a little bit longer because you guys were busy killing it at Dragon Con. All those pictures on Instagram blew my mind. You guys are incredible. So
we took a break from like everything.
Yeah, everything stopped in August.
But it looked like it was worth the effort. So
Hey, that Larflee's just hanging out there on the corner of the couch. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out.
I know. That's cool.
I could turn his.
So how hot was that, really?
Super hot.
How do you get?
Now.
How do you
really...
like? Do you like take a break every like 2 hours to hydrate or something? Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you?
I took a break every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like wearing a shag carpet.
Yeah.
So how did you see
I thought Dave was going to pass out a couple times.
Close. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot anyway. And the Marriott, and that's one of the big hotels, it's boiling in there because that's the busiest. But, you know, even inside a costume, let alone having a helmet on, you're hot. But, you know, put that on and, yeah, I felt like passing out a couple of times, but I didn't.
Yep. Almost, but not quite.
Well, we are glad you made it. So before we get into the book for this episode, let me say a quick hello to some people here in the chat. Of course, JP Budget Collecting is in the chat. That's not a surprise. I Got Issues is here. Chris is here. Haven't seen him in a while on YouTube. Oh, now I know why. He's hiding from me because he owes me a book in the mail. There you go. No worries. Take your time, brother. Comic Geek McD, what's up, man? Good to see you. You're always here supporting. Good to see you, Michael. Omega Comics, what is up, man? Thanks for stopping in. Rag718 is in the house. Good. What's up, brother? I appreciate you stopping by as well. Comic Head 84, what is up, Kenny? Good to see you. Perry Comics lurking or not lurking. He's actually commenting here.
Yeah,
wow.
He's lurking.
That's a good. Oh, I guess he is lurking. And my buddy Raul here, my good friend, in the city here, is in the house. So thanks everybody in the chat for showing up. I know it's been a minute since we've done this show. Apologies for that, but we'll try to get it back going on a regular basis. And we got a good one today. So this is the book for this episode. We're talking Batman Adventures Mad Love, the one-shot comic from the amazing combination of Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. And it is, of course, the origin story of Harley Quinn. So do you guys all have this book in collected edition? You guys have the original issue? I only have the trade paperback.
No, I actually have probably at least a whole short box full of Harley Quinn. Some of them are from issues. Thank you. And he sent me some. But I have like a whole short box, but not this one. So
yeah,
we actually read it on the DC app.
Okay, perfect.
This is the closest we have.
Oh, which issue is that one?
This is the annual. This is her third appearance.
Oh, okay,
cool.
This is probably one of the best quality books I have too from my original collection.
Is that on top loader?
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to get it graded. It's at least a 9.8. Like, I mean, I don't know if they go higher, but it's immaculate.
They do go higher. I have 199 in my collection. I got no 10s though. No 10s.
It would blow my mind if they got more than a 9.8.
So what's up, Sam I Am Comics? Thanks for stopping in, brother. So where should we begin? JP. Let me do a little table setting here on this book. So for people that aren't aware, I don't know who would be watching this show that isn't aware of this book to some degree, but you never know. So I'm just gonna do a quick recap of this book and where it sits as far as Batman, Joker, Harley Quinn universe. So of course the character of Harley Quinn, which was co-created by the two gentlemen responsible for this comic book issue, made her actual first appearance or debut, whatever you want to call it, in the Batman animated series in September of 1992. So that was pretty a long time ago. But September 1993, a full year later, was when she made her first comic book appearance in Batman Adventures issue 12, which is of course now a highly sought after comic book. The collectible comic book market with 9/8 going for over $1,000 and whatnot. But this book was released in December of 1993, so 3 months or so later after Batman Adventure 12, and it is the first origin story for Harley Quinn and her second appearance in comic books. And then for whatever reason, DC waited 6 years from there to actually put her in DC continuity in that Batman Harley Quinn #1 issue with the gorgeous Alex Ross cover that JP's showing that I'm very jealous of, and a 9.8.
Probably the best book from my original collection, right there.
Yes, nice book, my friend.
JP.
So all the way back in 1994, it won the Eisner Award for the best single issue. So it was considered the best comic book of 1994, best comic book story. And in 1994, also Bruce Timm was nominated for best penciler / inker for the book as well. He didn't win the award. As far as like critical response and stuff, I couldn't find a ton of research, but I do know that IGN apparently ranks it number 12 on their list of the 25th greatest Batman graphic novels or stories of all time. So pretty highly regarded book. I don't have the issue. It looks like none of us have the actual issue. I would like to get it.
It would be one I'd love to have.
Yeah, I think it's gone into, 3 prints made it to newsstands. So it got all the way to the 3rd printing for the actual issue on newsstands. And later a prestige edition, like a larger bound copy of it was released. We can get into some collectability stats later, but what do you guys think of the story? Do you want to start there, or do you want to start with the artwork? I'm a huge Bruce Timm fan personally. What about you guys?
As far as the artwork goes, I hadn't had a lot of exposure to Bruce Timm, but Kachoong can probably speak to that.
A little bit. Just the few Batman adventures that I have, definitely not not a huge fan, but yeah, definitely aware of him.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because as I was reading the comic on the DC app, I actually felt like a very strong feeling of deja vu, and I was like, I feel like I've already been exposed to this story. I'm like, I don't know how, because I haven't read this comic. And so today I said to Dave, I was like, I'm pretty sure this was a cartoon.
It was.
And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, no, I think it is. And I looked it up, and there it was in 99.
It wouldn't have been long after your first issue there, JP.
Right.
Yeah. But overall, it was a good story. I kind of remember watching it on the cartoon, and what I thought of it. Obviously, it's pretty shitty how he treats Harley Quinn, right? That happens throughout their entire relationship. He's pretty shitty because Joker just uses people. So, but I think that's just kind of their relationship, though.
Yeah.
The artwork's very clean.
Yeah, very clean.
It is really clean.
It's very clean and has like some theatrical kind of cinematic quality to it, even though it's cartoon cinema, but it's obviously very reminiscent of the animated series, because you have essentially the same creators working in a different medium. I believe Bruce Timm at the time they did this. He had worked on other comic books, but nothing to this degree of complexity and length. This is a 64-page one-shot issue, and Paul Dini had never written a comic book, I believe, before this. He had only worked on the animated series as it relates to this character. And I like the point that you bring up about the way Harley is treated. Is definitely feels kind of dated, even though essentially. I mean, how long ago was this again? It was like 26 years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess it has been. Yeah, I mean, it was a totally different era. And even Paul Dini and Bruce Timm have both acknowledged that they have no issues with the way that Harley Quinn's character has grown since then. To essentially not necessarily even need Joker, stand completely on her own, be her own character, which is great. Like, I like to see like the original creators of a character sort of acknowledge where things have gone with their character if they're no longer involved with that character.
Yeah, I think on that topic, probably the scene that bothered me the most was the scene when she had actually accomplished putting him in the piranha tank, and he was on the way there, and all he was thinking about was being called Mrs. Harley Quinn or being like second rate to her efforts. And like, he was just feeling very demasculated, like in that moment. And I was like, nah, I don't know. Like, you should be stronger than that. But that, you're like a murderous psychopath. You should be okay.
JP, what about you? Any thoughts on the artwork from your end?
Well, I'm a huge Bruce Timm fan just because it just reminds me, it's the series, and I grew up on Batman the Animated Series. That's really like the original Batman movie, and then that animated series is what made me a Batman fan. Those were more so than even the comic stories or anything like that. Those were the two things that like hooked me into that whole universe. So, like Delphia said, my first exposure to this story was the cartoon, was the episode, and not actually reading it. So it was a little different to go back, and I'd read it before, but to go back and read it and not watch it. But there's a lot of, it's pretty much beat for beat, with a few differences with the episode. I did not get a chance to rewatch the episode, but
neither did I. I had planned on it because that would have been cool to remember
But there, even like, I do love like he does even the way he does the action sequences, like in this. It's very much how they would do action sequences in the episodes. He very much, you could tell he is a cartoonist in terms of like animation more than a comic book cartoonist, but it works so well, for me at least. And maybe because that's just, like this whole sequence with the Joker on the train, like reveal that Batman's already behind him. And there's just so much here that is just straight out of that series that for me, the artwork, I mean, these are my favorite versions of these characters in a lot of ways. So
yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, Bruce Timm's pinup artwork is incredible in my opinion. He's known for that kind of pinup cartoony style, but I think he elevates it in this because he gets to draw Harley in a lot of action scenes. Loose. I use the word action loosely here because it is kind of targeted towards younger audience, but yeah, like just like pages like this or half splashes like this where you have Harley Quinn, just showcasing her personality. I think those panels really work for me as far as art is concerned. I do know that there were some cuts made. Or maybe not even necessarily cuts, edits. I'm trying to find that, JP. I know you and I were talking about that.
Oh yeah, we talked about it before.
You know what page that is?
Well, I got a different version. But,
here it is. Yeah. So here's an example of a panel that had to be edited.
Yeah. I'll pull up the way it ended up.
Yeah. So this is the original way that Bruce Timm drew this particular scene. It was the scene where she's like, "Come on, Puddin', don't you want to rev up your Harley? Vroom vroom."
Right.
And you see that Yeah, so JP showing the final panel, and I'm showing the original, and I'm assuming that the original was too suggestive, and that it needed to be edited out to the version that JP showing over there. So, so this issue was not without, I guess, editorial oversight from DC to make it fit, the target audience. So I always kind of think in my head, like, what if this was the DC Black Label version of the origin story? Like, and are we getting that? Is that what the Harleen series that's coming out in a couple weeks or whenever is? So we'll see.
The other thing I just want to comment real quick about is that I do love about Bruce Timm's art is the way he uses light. And they did it so well on the series because that series is so dark.
Yeah.
Like if you watch it, like it's black on black. And yet they use light so effectively, like he does in the panels where he finds the rose.
Oh yeah, that's
right. With the blinds. And I just, it's fairly subtle, but it's so well done. And he's a very cartoony artist. Like more so than I typically like, but there's just something about, and even his faces, while simple, like he shows emotion so well.
Mm-hmm.
And
so yeah,
my comments on Bruce Timm.
No, I agree. I think also too the art that he did on one page that showed like several different things and the succession of like an event within one page was really well done also.
Yeah. So, because we read it on the DC app, and you know how that works. It kind of
moves around
panel to panel, right?
Yeah. Which is kind of a cool way to read it.
Yeah.
And then when you go and we watched a part of that cartoon from '99, and it was literally the same artwork, animated somewhat, moving parts within the frame were moving. So I mean, they legitimately took the cartoon that was printed and turned it into a moving cartoon using the same art. So, I mean, that talks to how cartoony his art is.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is like the original series, it was fully animated, right?
Right.
And it was really cool and we all love that. But then this whole Mad Love thing, they like literally took like the comic and semi-animated it, and you can tell because like their mouths don't move.
Right.
Right.
That's interesting. I never realized that.
Yeah, I didn't either when I was a kid.
Hey, so we got Nemo Comics is in the house. What's up, Mo? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, Mo. I think someone else also joined us. Itchy Boy is in the house. What's up, man? How you doing?
My boy.
So the Symbiote Club is out in full force tonight. Thank you, guys. I was going to say, I guess if we're going to switch over to the writing for a second, and Paul Dini's role in this whole thing, we sort of talked a little bit about, the way Joker treated Harley and everything. But I want to talk a little bit about the way Batman treated Harley. Like, he kind of took her, I think, the most seriously in the story as a sort of rival, foe, or whatever. And by the end of the story, you essentially have him saying to Joker that she was one move away from having me done. You know what I mean? And that she outwitted me more than you ever had. Joker, like trying to kind of like sticking into him a little bit. And that was probably my favorite story point of the entire issue. Personally, I love that part of the origin story, how basically Batman is the one that sort of maybe makes Joker realize that that she should be taken more seriously. I don't know if that's necessarily the way that the continuity
does,
but but I like that takeaway from it anyway.
Yeah, he did not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole storyline was kind of setting it up to let the reader see that Harley Quinn didn't take herself seriously enough, even at the beginning, because she wasn't studying to get her grade, she was cheating, yada yada. And even in like the end, she kind of shortchanged herself by attaching herself to someone else and like that was the only way that she felt validated.
Yeah.
Is that too deep?
No, that's good.
His artwork.
No, I think no, I think that's right on there, and it's interesting that
that's the psychiatrist way of looking at it, and that makes total sense because she's a psychiatrist.
Well, and it's interesting to like, and I don't know, like this has a foreword by Paul Dini, like my version does. I don't know if yours does it.
Mine had a foreword by Paul Dini and a whatever afterword or post forward by Bruce Timm.
Yeah, but he talks about the fact that like they created her something as a one shot, but when he did it, he had like that she was more than that to him, like from the beginning. But even though, and then she took off as a character, and they kept using her.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so we've created this character. She's a therapist. She's a smart lady. Why? And it like to him, and that was the whole thing. Was like, why would she put up with this guy? And trying to like bring that to life was something that he was like, he kind of created it without knowing himself why, and he had to figure that out as he wrote this. And
because the order of events was that she appeared in the animated series, and then she appeared in Batman Adventures 12, but there was no explanation as to why she became the character that she was in those few issues or whatever. Yeah.
He even calls it bizarre. He's like, it's bizarre that this person would be, what does he say? Like, the fact that Harley felt affection for the Joker was bizarre. And adding to it that she'd once been a therapist made it tragic. Like, she should be smarter than this. And yet she wasn't in terms of she fell for somebody. There was a monster, but she couldn't see it.
It made me wonder, she didn't really become a therapist because she was, attacking
she tricked the shortcut.
She tricked them. So was she really that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that, maybe there could have been like a deeper reasoning from like her own past to tie it in a little bit more as to like why she fell for the Joker. Because it was like evident that she came in to do the whole psychiatry thing to promote her career, which is right. But then she very quickly changed gears when she started working with Joker. And then all of a sudden she felt pity for him. And we all have been victims to like pity, right? Pity's good. It's good to have pity, but it's also not good to be in a relationship because of pity.
Right.
So, but the thing is, we've all been in that situation probably one time or another. But the bottom line is it probably should have tied back to her past a little bit more to make it stronger for her to like go off the deep end. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
I feel like they've done that more recently, but I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like they have added some more to her past, like how she got there. But I haven't read all of those stories. But
I haven't read all those stories either. That's why I said first origin story for Harley Quinn, because I think there's been other ones like since then.
Maybe she has a way of taming the animal, because she has hyenas as pets, and they appeared in this too. I think for the first time. I didn't see them in Batman Adventures 12, but they're in this one for the first time.
I've never actually read Batman Adventures 12.
I have not either.
I'm on the DC app.
You guys read it on there? I got to read it on there. I should have done that.
I know they were in the series, but I do not know, Kachoong, if you were right. If this was the first episode of, I know it's the first appearance of them in comics, of the two hyenas. Because it mentions that when you look up the facts about this book, that it's the first appearance of them in comics. But I do not know if they appeared here before they appeared in the animated series or not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe. I just brought that up because she kind of falls for him, and he's some kind of an animal.
Yeah.
Crazy animals.
Crazy.
So Mr. Gretzky 9966 is in the house. What is up, my friend? And Haile Comic Bro Raul is in the house. Good to see you. 2 Rauls in the chat. I wanted to mention a little bit about sort of comic book collecting and this particular character and this particular story, this particular issue. I pulled some data here. So Batman Adventures Mad Love, of course, is a one-shot. It had 3 printings. The first printing, the current fair market value for a 9.8 is $350. Which is, it's fairly affordable for 9.8, major key DC character issue. It's not her first appearance, of course, but it's the origin story and second appearance. Last sold for $370 on September 1st. However, there's 1,447 9.8s. Oh, no, 1,447 total. I'm not sure how many 9.8s, but 1,447 total graded by CGC. There's a re-release version or a prestige format version, which actually sells at a 9.8 for $525. And I'm not I've never actually seen that prestige edition of that book.
Did that get the other cover?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I wonder if that is the other cover.
Maybe.
The back, it's got something about another cover.
And then there's only 79 of those graded of the prestige ones. So that one's the rare book to get, I guess, if that's your thing as a collector. So so this is kind of the portion of the show where we usually do some rankings. Oh, is that the other? I thought that was the original cover.
I think that's the other cover.
That's the other cover? This
is the original, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm not sure about that.
No, I'm confused.
Because usually they'll show the original cover inside a graphic novel, right? Before page 1. This is over here. If you look at page 1, this is the cover that they show. So
on the DC,
not in my version, but yeah,
this one.
Huh? Really?
And then the very next page you flick to is the other cover.
Oh, interesting. So they just show both covers.
Yeah.
Way to be confusing, DC.
Well, hang on. I'll look this up. Let me get my pulled back up, and we'll go collect and see.
You want to share the screen? How do I let you share the screen? I'm still getting.
I'll have to share it with you. Let's go. I'm just gonna go to Go Collect real quick. I won't even log in. I'll just to get the covers.
Do I have to hit a button or something?
Not yet, because I'm not there.
Okay.
I have to share it with you first.
Oh, you have to share it with me? Okay.
Yeah, I have to tell it to share it. Let's see what we got. Okay. The Batman Adventures #1. So, here they are. They're both on this screen. So let me go back and share this with you.
Okay.
So yeah, the cover you're talking about is the prestige one. Share screen, and I want a Chrome tab. Go Collect. So
now I add your screen. There it is.
So the prestige and the third printing have that other cover. The original and the second printing has that other cover. The original has the printing, the cover that's on the trade.
Got it. So yeah, you guys are right about that. That's interesting.
Wow. Now we know if you got the first print.
Oh yeah, you know what? Now that you guys say it, I remember on that second cover in the bottom right corner, Bruce Timm signs it and it says 1995. And this issue came out December of '93, so that would make no sense if it was the original cover. So it has to be the second cover.
Nope, Sam, I might have beat us to it. So
there we go. The cover of the trade paperback is the first print cover. The inside cover is the second print. Okay. Oh, second print. Okay. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we solved that mystery. So this is kind of usually when we start talking a little bit about rankings, like where we rank various aspects of the book. We usually talk about, first we usually talk about favorites, like favorite cover, favorite issue, if it's a multiple story arc. That doesn't apply here because it's a one shot, so we can't really choose. I guess we could choose favorite cover between the first print and the second print cover. Mine's the second print, personally.
We could do a favorite Harley cover.
Favorite Harley cover?
Just in general.
It's probably the Alex Ross for the book.
That would be up there. But
that's mine.
I think probably it's not even a Harley book. It's the Batman Dam book. That one's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, issue
number
2. She's on the cover. That's great. Yeah.
That's a great
I
one.
also really like that that Hyuk Lee variant of Detective 1000. He did a Harley Quinn.
Which one is that?
The Lee version of the Detective.
Oh yeah. The Jae-hung something Lee.
I can never say.
I don't know which Lee it is. It's like In-hyuk Lee, Jae-hyun Lee, Jim. I know Jim Lee. You know.
I think it's Jae-hung Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, she's walking in the rain.
Selena.
I think it's.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I think I know which one.
Kind of like the ghost. The ghost.
Kind of like the Ghost Spider one, yeah. Or the was that Ghost Spider? Yeah, it was. I'm losing track of all these books, honestly.
Yeah.
And these variant covers.
JP, he's 6 months behind.
Are you looking this up, JP?
I'm looking for that particular cover here, real quick.
What's JP 6 months behind?
Because he's looking at the top 10 list.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you slipped that one in there, but I wished I had a little symbol for that joke.
That one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
I think I sent one of those to Big Line Cat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
The other one I think that we haven't mentioned yet, obviously there's Alex Ross, and then there's that Adam Hughes from the New 52 #1 where she's like in the straitjacket. I know that's a goes for big money. I know that's a popular Harley cover too.
Not sure I remember that one.
Here, let me share a different screen with you.
I remember all the Adam Hughes Catwoman covers, but I don't remember for some reason.
Remove that one.
Oh, there's a great Matina Suicide Squad cover. Last year he did a few of the covers where they're all kind of flying through the air, the white background, and she had smashed her hammer and it was in pieces, and she has a real evil look on her.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
There's that Hughes one I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Oh yeah. Okay.
That one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When these are the covers that when I see them I recognize them, but I can't think of them mentally at all. I mean, I think these are all pretty damn good suggestions. The Alex Ross one it's just the one that I'll always remember the most, I guess.
Plus, it's the costume. To me, this is her best look.
And it's the original, retains the original
look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just have a thing for like paint.
And there's been a ton of homages to this cover. I mean, it's the Mylar. Here, let's take it out.
It's probably the version of Harley everyone probably thinks of first.
Yeah. Everyone I guess.
Right.
Our age. Yeah, newer people probably don't. I mean, younger people probably don't think of this book.
Yeah,
they think of the Suicide Squad version.
Yeah.
They probably do. Hey, what's up, Bake? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in.
Or the Amanda Connor version, the new 52/Rebirth kind of version with the red and the.
This is the one I was thinking of.
Is that the Matina?
Oh yeah.
That got really hot for a second, that cover, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her face is evil.
Hey, Jason's in the house. Comics Myth Explained. What's up?
Explained.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bake jumped in there. I didn't even see Bake jump in.
So we can't really also talk about favorite issue within this run because it's a one-shot. So all of our end of show segments are kind of messed up. I forgot to even think about that.
So I have a question though while we're talking about that though. So Delphia, I know you're a big Harley fan. You never really read this one, you said. What are some of the Harley stories though that made you a big fan of the character?
I think for me, I mean, I kind of got sucked into the comic book world in the last year, just full transparency from this guy. But I mean, I think prior to that, I grew up watching Harley Quinn through cartoons. You know what I mean? So that's how I got to know Harley Quinn. I watched the X-Men cartoons growing up.
Right.
And I would say when I was a kid, I was definitely more of a gamer than a comic book collector. So that's how I spent all of my time, honestly. So I played Sega. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, all the series of PlayStations that came out, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft for 7 years.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I definitely I think when you have a hobby like that, it's hard to get into all of them,
Right.
So for me, I mean, I have just kind of started kicking off my whole reading of Harley Quinn this year, or reading of any of this stuff, to be perfectly honest with you. And if we pivoted the camera around, you would see what an actual problem it's become. I don't want to say I have a run of it I love, because that would be a complete lie,
Right.
I started trying to read some of the stuff from Cho just because I really liked his artwork at first. I got probably 4 or 5 of those covers. And I'll be honest with you, I was reading through the storyline and it was just really shallow.
Right.
I don't mean shallow she's shallow. I mean it just didn't have a lot of depth to the story.
I would agree with that.
The recent run, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I was really disappointed because I do like Harley Quinn so much, and I think there's so much development that can be done with her. So I read through a few of those, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have either of you read the White Knight story, which was kind of an Elseworlds one that came out last year?
That's a good story, and she's the psychiatrist.
She plays a major role in that story.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, we jumped in just after that, I think, came out.
I think that trade's in one of the boxes, but I would recommend that for you.
I would also highly recommend that. Yeah.
Batman White Knight.
Because she gets to play really an equal to Batman, sort of in that, not from a superhero standpoint, but from an intelligence standpoint and pivotal to the story standpoint. And she becomes the intelligent, normal, stable adult version of the character that she is. You know what I mean? Without all the in love with a madman bits of her character. She's still in love with the guy that Joker actually is, aka Jack Napier, his real name, the real guy or whatever, but she's not in love with Joker, which is an interesting change,
That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty good.
They kind of split her into 2 characters.
Yeah.
There's the original Harley, and then there's this character that basically comes across as the goofy, shallow version that we've come to know in the comics in recent years, in my opinion.
Right, and they create 2 characters. Sean Murphy, the author, creates essentially an explanation for the difference in the character of Harley Quinn, sort of. And he's poking fun at DC continuity without it actually being official,
Right.
Which I thought was pretty intelligent, pretty smart.
Yeah,
right?
that's neat.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Although when we got into cosplay fully in 2016, that was one of her first cosplays. Was Harley.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
A bit of a twist on.
I was just about to ask, have you guys ever done Joker and Harley Quinn as a cosplay? Have you done Joker?
I have never done Joker. It was a thought for this year for the bunny party, but your ideas for that went to Black Cat, so I stuck with my Spider-Man costume.
Nice. That's a great duo as well.
Oh, that's a good one.
You guys killed it. Looks so good on Instagram.
So I have to ask, since we brought that up before we get back to the thing, is the Black Cat doing the Mark Brooks and adding the Carnage eyes thing. How late in the process did you decide to do that, Delphia? Because it looked amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you.
It was pretty late.
The cover was only 2 months old.
Oh yeah, new, but I do love Mark Brooks.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But he commented on my post.
Did he? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You have an update for that?
Oh yeah, I gotta post something else that I said I told him I would post, but I haven't posted it yet. So he said he's waiting, but we'll see. I mean, for me, I think I wound up kind of deciding to do that within the last month and a half, honestly.
Oh, I thought it was.
That cover was early July.
Yeah, well, I was gonna do my Gwenem, what was it? Yeah, the Gwenem from last year.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Face makeup.
I did that last year, and it was fine. But I think the thing that I kind of didn't like about it was that pretty much I just ordered a suit from, was it Zentai Zone? No, RPG.
Yeah.
RPC, sorry, RPC Studio. They're good, but we decided that like we just didn't really want to order from them again. But long story short, I mean, it's a nice suit, but I didn't feel like I put a lot of me into the costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like Kachoong like painted my face, and I put on a contact, and everyone went crazy because it was cool and had the fingers and stuff like that, the claws. Right. But I was like, if I'm gonna do a bodysuit this year, like I want to do something where I can still at least do something that has my own signature on it. And I love Mark Brooks, so I looked honestly on Amazon, and I found a suit like that I could get really quick. And I was like,
perfectly.
Yeah, well, I actually ordered two. I ordered one, it didn't fit, it was too big, and then I ordered another one, and it fit pretty good. So I wound up like gluing my own shoes inside of it, and then
yeah. She turned a Venom mask.
Well, because the Mark Brooks cover, as Kachoong says, is not actually accurate because because it's actually a Venom mask because his tongue's out.
Right.
And but Mark Brooks painted it with his tongue out as Carnage. So I had to get a Venom mask and turn it into a Carnage head.
Okay.
Which I literally did the night before I wore it to the con.
Wow.
Well, we're good.
Honestly, it looked great. It looked like Hollywood prop level great. It was awesome.
A great prop. She turned it into a purse.
I waited like 2 weeks for that mask. Like I spent like probably 2 weeks looking online to find the perfect one. And then I turned it into a purse and put chains on the side. Like I got like a purse chain, and so I could wear the head. And everybody at the con was freaking out. They thought it was awesome.
Wow.
That was cool.
Amazing. So we got some more people joining us. Biggie Shack's in the house. What's up, Biggie Shack? We got Stephen Oates. Stephen Oates is here, and Bueller's in the house. Thanks for stopping by, Bueller.
Here's my cover, actually.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there is the Mark Brooks cover.
That's sick.
Sick.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, so we're kind of at that time where we rank this Batman story among our favorites, or you don't necessarily have to have a number. Like I said earlier, IGN ranks it number 12 out of 25. I kind of put it there personally, somewhere in the middle of my pack. I don't even have my top 25 list defined, or even have my top 10 list defined. We've done 6 other stories so far on this show, Gotham City Chronicles, and I would probably put this at last among the 7 now that we've done. I don't even necessarily rank it because it's more of a Harley Quinn story to me than a Batman story, or you know what I mean. So in that regard, it's hard for me to contextually rank it among like all the other Batman stories that I've read. But if I had to, I would probably put it somewhere in that like 10 to 15 range or something, possibly. But even that's a very loose like ranking or definition of a ranking. Do you guys have any opinion on it?
I don't know where I would rank it amongst Batman stories.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do that.
Pretty low though. It's simplistic. But I think it brings a lot to her origins, and it really just it does. What am I trying to say? It does give enough of a background story for Harley to give her some essence.
Yeah, I mean, she even had like a moment of introspection at the end, and then she snapped out of it when she saw the rose again.
Right, she did. Yeah.
I think what I love about the story is kind of what you and JP were saying, where it just kind of reminds me of my childhood. Mm-hmm. And, like to me, I think also the way that not only the way it was illustrated, but the way that it was written was very similar to the cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
I read it like I was watching the cartoons, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because Batman animated series is probably my number one, like animated show of all time. I mean, the X-Men, the animated series is pretty close, and Spider-Man's pretty close. I love all three of those, and I watched all three of those as a kid, and TMNT, of course.
Yeah.
So like for that sentimental value alone, I like connect with the book, especially from the art perspective, like the Bruce Timm side of it. I probably enjoy more than the story itself, even to some degree. Like I like flipping through the pages and just looking at it, versus I think this was probably the second time I've read it.
Yeah.
This is not one I'm going to go back to over and over and over again. Like Year One, which is my number one on my particular list, which I keep going back to every year, at least once, twice, something like that, maybe more. So yeah, that's kind of where I land with it. What about you, JP?
I would say of the ones we've done so far, it is probably last. I think it both benefits and suffers from the fact that to a certain degree, I think it was even written to be episodes of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it benefits from that because it does give you that nostalgia. And I do like the way the story is told, like visually throughout the comic.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that they were writing it in a way that they had to make it for a kid's series hurt the story overall. Because, as Delphia said earlier, like, there's not enough there to truly explain why she puts up with it. And there's not enough depth there, and although they go pretty dark with like how he treats her, I don't feel like there's enough depth to the explanation of why she puts up with it. And and I think it just suffers from the fact that it was designed to tell in comic book form a 40 minutes of cartoon, which was it was a 2 episode. It's 2 episodes of the animated
arc. Yeah,
it's a 2-parter, but I think it suffers ultimately from that, even though it also benefits from it in the fact that, like, I do think like the way it's visually told is spectacular. Like for me, and maybe that's just the nostalgia talking, but, which I'll fully admit, because like animated series is definitely my number one. It's not even probably close, really, for me, but I do think it suffers a little bit because of the fact that it's kind of almost too attached to the series. I kind of wish they'd have done the animated version, and then when they'd done this, they'd been the freedom to like
create a story. Yeah,
create a story that didn't have to be like they could vary more than they did from the animated version, if that makes sense. Like, because typically you watch a movie or something that's a book that's become a movie or something, and there's all these details that are in the books that are left out of the movies or the TV show just because of time. And I wish those details that normally get left out were here.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it would be different because in all of our cases, we've saw the TV episode before going back and reading the issue, but the actual order of events was the issue first, and then, but I don't know how many people that experienced it that way, especially with the popularity of those cartoons, which is so high compared to comic books. So,
but I feel like even though it was written first, it was written to script those episodes.
Possibly.
I feel in a lot of ways.
According to Bruce Timm, not. According to Bruce Timm, that's not the case. I don't know whether I believe that or not, but according to him, they decided to tell the origin story in comic book form, and then only later did they decide to, okay, we'll adapt that issue or whatever. That's his explanation. So,
I could be wrong, but I do feel like it. That when you read it, I feel like it's that way. But maybe that's.
But how do you know that? Because you saw the episode first, right? So did I.
That's true.
It's impossible to really have that perspective unless we ask somebody who had the opposite experience, I guess. So maybe if you're out there and you had the opposite experience, please leave that experience in the comments or whatever when this video uploads, and we appreciate that. That would be cool to look at. So you guys got anything you want to plug or anything like that?
I want to say one more thing about the book, though.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Great use of, what is it? I can never say this onomatopoeias.
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. Plenty of them. They're like all over the place. I love it.
Is that like the enunciating of the word that makes it sound like the word or something like that? Or I forget what that is in grammar.
Those words that are classic from the 60s Batman show.
Pow, bang.
Yeah.
Grr and snarl and like noises in the background and
sometimes writers kind of, you know,
there's probably the best one.
Leave them out. I think they need to be used more in comics.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I think a lot of the modern artists, like, you know, the Lieber Mayhos and like that, you know, more graphic digital cinematic kind of style, they're leaving that out a lot more these days.
I feel like it has because of the Batman TV show in the 60s, it has a negative connotation now.
Yeah.
But it's different to have it in a TV show versus in a comic book. In a comic book form, look how well that works.
You need it.
Yeah. I mean, it just works so well with him. Like,
I feel like it kind of creates sound in the comic book.
I mean, this whole page of this fight.
Yeah.
And when you're reading your modern books, the recently released, look for that and see if they've really done a good job using the text that they've used to create that sound. It's one of the things that fascinates me about comic books.
Me too. Honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of comic books is that my headcanon for that issue is different than your headcanon for that issue. Like, I have a whole different interpretation. Like, we may be reading the same letters, but like, and looking at the same text and looking at the same artwork, but those three things combined in my head in the order that's presented to me on the page is going to be different in my head than it is in your head. That's just the way it's like interpreting artwork, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has a different perspective. That's why I think it's one of the greatest mediums that we have.
And I don't know if it's the writer's responsibility or
it's a partnership. It's a partnership.
It must be. But I think recently Donny Cates in the Silver Surfer Black, there's some really good.
Tradmore, and Donny, it's a good one.
Thor also has some.
I like the trippiness of that comic book, like the trippiness of the art. It's very cool. Although some people don't like it, apparently. At least that's what I've heard on the interwebs. So, do you guys want to mention anything? You guys got anything coming up or anything you want to promote on your channel or anything?
No, I think that at some point Kachoong and Mr. G are going to do a giveaway. We already did the giveaway, but the actual giving away.
The figuring out who wins it.
I see.
We're giving away a microphone. Mr. G had a video up. We wanted to plug him a lot more than we plug ourselves. So randomly on YouTube.
And he's been supporting a lot of people and trying to, do his thing on YouTube as well. So,
but I think
he's a good dude. I love talking to him on Instagram, and he finally caved and gave me his address so I can send him an AOK. So I'm working on it.
Nice.
So,
Mr. G he's an amazing person. He's a really, really good guy.
I like him a lot. So if you're out there, Mr. G, I'm working on it. It's coming.
This is our microphone. And
oh, wow.
I got 2 of them, and so we only need one with our setup. So we decided to give the other one away and do it on his channel. So that's what's going on.
Jason's got a question for you guys. Kachoong and DK, you guys are going to review Battle Pug with your pugs? Not entirely sure what that is, but
is that a new comic? We haven't been in the comic scene for.
I'm not sure what that is either, so don't worry about it.
It might be a new book.
Is it? Huh? I'll have to look it up. We'll see.
Battle Pug. Sure.
DVD.
We'll find it and maybe we'll review it.
There you go.
With Miss Explain because he has pugs.
Oh yeah, he does.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Nice. What about you, JP? You got all sorts of stuff going on.
Well, not because I've been gone. I don't have anything really coming this week. I don't think. The top 10 will come this week. I will probably not get another Let's Collect out this week, but given that 30 people watch those. I don't know if anybody's gonna miss those. If you have not checked out my Let's Collect, I've done 3 of those. I think they're good, but we'll see if they ever find an audience. It's basically a breakdown of everything you need to know to collect a character. So far, I've done Nightwing, Black Widow, and Black Canary. I'm trying to do like characters I don't feel like people collect as much. So we'll see. That's
probably why you don't have an audience.
That could be why I don't have an audience. Well, I feel like some of the major characters already what the keys are and what books you need and what are the storylines. And I'm trying. I don't know. It's got to find it hasn't found its where it needs to be yet, but working on that. And at some point we'll be doing this again. And so this is our next one with Bear Island. We're doing Black Mirror. We haven't set a date for this yet, correct?
We can figure out a date for that, yeah. But that's the next one.
So that will be next.
Awesome.
Good one.
So that's it.
That's a long one. That's a 10-issue run.
Yeah.
So, yep. A little bit of reading to do on that one. As for me, I'm working on a new YouTube content series where it's just YouTubers flipping their camera around, showing the mess that they have on the other side. No, just kidding. That'd be a pretty fun show to do, though. I always think about like the fact that probably everybody on the other side of that camera has like a total chaos going on. I know I do. That's just the way it is. So,
I'm pretty organized. I'm a pretty organized person.
Really?
I can stand things to be unorganized.
I try sometimes, but usually I'm unorganized.
It's like in this room, I would say it's unorganized. It's organized chaos in this room.
All right, but for real, I don't really have any particular plans. I was gonna do a 450 subscriber contest, but maybe I'll make it a road to 500 contest and be optimistic about it and do it. So maybe I'll do that. Had a good idea for it. Started making a contest video, then got caught up with work and life and other things and never got around to editing it. And now it already feels like out of date. So I have to probably re-record it and update it to be a road to 500 contest. So look out for that. Other than that, I don't know. We'll just see what happens. The videos will come as they may. So
before we go, so I already showed you guys like the Alex Ross cover, which is like probably one of the grails of my original collection. But I figured since we were doing Harley, this is one of my favorite pickups of the last year. I went to Planet Con, and for no charge, Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor did this on the inside of my trade.
Oh,
nice, dude.
Cool.
Oh,
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, you want a sketch on the inside of this? And I was like, sure. And They did not charge me.
Wow.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I love them. Like I met them at Las Vegas Con in 2018. They were really nice. I didn't have any like Harley Quinn related books on me or anything at the time, but they're really nice people.
Yeah, they were super nice.
Yeah, that's super cool, JP.
So that's all I got, man.
All right, cool, dude. Well, thanks everybody in the chat for joining us. We appreciate it. If you're watching this on replay, we appreciate that as well. Please share your thoughts about Batman Mad Love in the comments below. We appreciate the likes and the shares and the whatnot. Until next time, when we read Black Mirror with Bear Island Comics, we'll catch you soon. Later, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And now 10 minutes before it actually closes.